Can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? Before I get started, I don't want to have to repeat all this. So I've got some people commenting saying that they can't hear. So you can hear me now. Okay. All right. Fantastic. So the the one messaging in that was having issues with hearing me is new to technology a little bit. He's a good friend of mine, but anyways, so me, what is what gives me the authority to get in front of you and talk and share and all of those different things. So I'll go back 12 years ago. 12 years ago, I had a dream, a vision. The economy went in the toilet, as we all know, something very similar to what's happened recently. And I decided I want to make a career change. And I wanted to change up what I was doing with my career. And decided to bet on myself. So I had an idea that I wanted to help high school age athletes. Ironically, very similar to why I'm actually starting this. So I had an idea that I wanted to start high school age athletes um, access opportunities at universities here in the United States. So went through some different things, had some different financial issues and life issues and different things, and was down to the last $1,500 I had to my name. I decided to bet on that and go all in on myself and on an idea. I'd never started a business before. I knew nothing about it, and decided that I wanted to start a business and I wanted to help people. Didn't even know how to get a website up and going, didn't own a computer, absolutely none of that. All the wrong things and wrong time to actually probably start an online business. So I did that. In doing that, it turned out to be something that was massively needed, right? It was massively needed. We were able to push that forward. And what we ended up doing over time was building the largest international sports recruiting service in the world. And it had really never been done in the way that we did it. And we were trying new things and uh, breaking barriers. We ended up partnering with multinational governments. We ended up working with student athletes in 53 different countries around the world. And then what that kind of became was a big deal, right? It's an international business. It ended up taking me 100+ days a year out of the country. I've given 300 plus talks on 4 different continents over the last 5 or 6 years, and was able to cross paths with so many unique people in my life who have become friends, who are like family in different countries, and all of those different things. 2018 rolls around. We have the best year we've ever had. I get named emerging entrepreneur by the Kentucky Entrepreneurs Hall of Fame. 2019 starts, and long story short, it was time to step away. It was time to shut it down. Hindsight, even more so, being 2020 is the best thing for me. No doubt, the best thing for the business, the best thing for the people, working in the business, all of that stuff. But what it did force me to do was then, I was working 16, 17-hour days, 6, 7 days a week. What it then forced me to do is now have time. So I now have time to think, right? I have time to figure out what I want to do, how I want my legacy, how I want my life to be represented. And that's something that I'm really really big on is legacy. And legacy is for me, I want I want so many people at my funeral that they're backed up and around the building but they're also pissed because they have to sit out in the sun or the rain, waiting to pay me respect. So, meaning I want everybody to love me, but I could care less if anybody loves me. Meaning I don't I don't change what I do because of other people's opinion. And you'll hear as I talk about this group, you'll hear a lot of that involved because a lot of people move based off of other people's opinion, their job, their wife, their church, their friends, their Facebook friends, if that's what you call it, whatever those things are. So for me, it's all about legacy. So this downtime over the last 15, 16, 17, 18 months has allowed me to really be in my thoughts and really figure out what do I want the next stage of my legacy to be. In January or February, I made the decision that I was going to start writing my book and do professional speaking full time. I've done a lot of it. I've not done it full time. I have a few friends that do it relatively full time and are very successful doing it. They've also come to me, Shane, you really need to do this. You need to do that. You need to do this. So it's one of those things where, I jumped off the ledge, if you will. And as I'm jumping off the ledge, this whole COVID-19 thing happens and throws a wrench in all of that. Now, what was I going to be speaking about? Yes, some of it will be about entrepreneurship, some of it will be about my journey, some of it will be about my life, but a majority of what the next stage of my legacy is going to be is this right here. This right here. Accepting the challenges. And accepting the challenges is going to be and is becoming a Facebook group community that will be for parents. And listen, that's traditional parents, non traditional parents, adoptive parents, foster parents, step parents, educators, administrators, counselors at school, teachers, coaches, mentors, anyone working with today's youth that want to get better, that want to be able to help them more, that want to be able to assist them better in what they're doing and going through life. Now, that's where the accepting the challenges part comes in because today's youth, they're they have a lot of challenges. We all have this thing called mental health, and there's a lot of stigmas behind it still, whether it be um, gender, men. I'm not gonna go. I'm tough. I'm a mean. I'm a man. I'm not gonna go sit and talk about my problems and all these different things. There's ethnic stigmas upon it. This group is not meant to take the place of therapy. It's not meant to take the place of going and sitting down and working through your problems. What this is going to be, it is going to show you and share with you a lot of the things that I've been through in my life, how I used those things, what I used, what I failed at, you know, good stories, bad stories, stories of educators helping me, stories of educators, wishing me the worst, all of these different things. And it's designed to give you guys as a demographic that meets that are accepting that challenge of helping these youth today. It is going to be showing you different unique ways. Our goal in this, and one of the guys that's been with me for a couple years in my previous venture, he has the same altruistic drive in doing this, wanting to help people, wanting to give back, and he's got his own personal testimony and story, and even some things that he and I have kind of went through and helped each other with, or what have you. And we're Brendan's going to be setting up interview content after content after content after content. So that's the first part of this. The first part of this group It's going to be a lot of different perspectives. It's going to be perspective from, professional athletes who've went through struggles and trials as a young child or in through life, and hearing what they went through and how they overcame it. It's going to be, celebrities. It's going to be your regular Joe Schmo from in town that no one knows, but has an unbelievable, inspiring story. Some of you in the group may raise your hand and say, Shane, I'd love to share my testimony. I'd love to share my story. And we'll absolutely do that. We want this community to be as inclusive as possible. It is strictly for helping the youth. That's it. It is for ways and hearing and almost an ancillary part to traditional continuing education that you may do. Or maybe you're that parent and life is so crazy and so busy, you don't have time to get in and talk to a therapist about what's going on with your child at home. This community is going to be made up of tons of people that are in this community that will share, that will be there for you to reach out, all point you in the right direction, all of those things. So content is going to be the first one. We are going to be treating this like a media company. And when I say content, Brendan and I are going to talk over the next couple of days and come up with a formidable goal of what we're going to try and do. That goal is over the next 30 days to try doing 30 to 45 different interviews of people who match the demographic of who's going to be in this group. So that's the first part. The second part is each day of the week is going to be themed for a conversation. And within that, it's going to allow different things to be shared. We'll have, for example, we'll have a book of the month. And the goal is to also have the author of that book on, do some interviews, do some, maybe even some question and answer or some ask me anythings, maybe with the community, or maybe a select number of the community of those of you that want in on something like that. Things like that are also going to be a part. So there's going to be this conversation piece as well going through it. There will be different things to where if you're a teacher or educator and you're at a school and we get this whole coronavirus out of here, there's going to be things where, there'll be discounts, where you guys can have me come in and speak, just because you're a member of our community and, we know how valuable that is and you want us to come in and speak to the youth or maybe even speak to the teachers and give some different insight. So now that's kind of an overview of what this is. I'm going to be posting some different images, breaking some other pieces of what we're going to be doing, inside of this. But any topic that the youth are dealing with, whether it's suicide, whether it's poverty, abuse, trauma, academic struggles, ADHD, um, you know, racism, any of it, we're going to discuss it. We're not shying away from, those of you that know me, I don't shy away from any difficult conversation. If anything, I'll probably run to it. So we're not going to be shying away from those things. My goal is to have so much in here that you look forward to checking in every day to see what's going on, see who we're interviewing, see who we're bringing in. Now, why and what in the world would motivate me to want to why would I want to do this, right? I can go start a business, and I have a few different businesses still going, and all of those things, but why do this, right? So now I'm going to get a little personal with you, and quite frankly, I grew up in a pretty bad situation. I won't go into all the details right now to the intricacies because each part of that is part of this journey. But I was born into two parents that had no business being together. It was a rough childhood. Me being the oldest, I definitely went through some things that maybe not everybody else in the house did. I've dealt with things like trauma, abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse. I've seen, marriage struggles and separation and different abuse within there. I've diagnosed with ADHD as a young child. Um, didn't really stick with the medicine, so was just left to flail and go through it. Academic struggles, you name it, I've had it. Actually, you guys can't see it back here, somewhere over here on the wall. I actually have a picture um, of my high school transcript. So I graduated 154th out of 187 with a 1.67 GPA. I got a 16 on the ACT, I believe. School just was not for me. So maybe now I'm starting to paint a little bit of a picture after I've told you what I've accomplished and where I've been to where I'm at now, and you know then to where I've come from. That's the motivation for this. If I can help, because I'll tell you, as a kid, there was a lot of times that I felt, man, I wish someone would have spoke up for me. I wish somebody who maybe thought they knew what was going on, or maybe thought they saw what they saw. I wish they would have spoke up. I wish they would have done something. And for me, I wanna be a voice. I don't mind speaking. Right is right and right is wrong. And I don't mind speaking up for those people who don't have a voice. I don't mind speaking up for people who are cast off from society. I embrace those people. I hug them. I love on them, and I give them my support. And that's what we should do. And that is what this community of people is going to be. I think this is going to be something really, really special. So, from my life, and I don't have a college degree. I went to school for a year after high school, and I went to class twice, maybe three times. That didn't work out. And I'll have some friends of mine who've gone on and done successful things, and you guys will hear some of these stories. So that is kind of the nature of this group. We will outgrow that, but it's definitely going to be Shane sharing his journey, his life, his experiences, his failures, his ups, his downs, because I don't have all the answers and I don't know everything. But what I do know is I am an absolute expert at my own story. And I am an expert at my own journey. And I'm an expert at what I've used to achieve what I've been able to achieve. So for me, that's what this is about. And that's how this has kind of come about. So, um, that's all wanted to try and keep this at 30 minutes. I've personally been able to do that, but what I want to now is to allow any of you guys to ask a few questions that maybe are out on one of the platforms here about either me or the group or the future of the group or those things. We've got a couple other members that are involved, and I'll have those members on. There's going to be a podcast, so a lot of these interviews are also going to live on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all of those things as well. And then we're going to have a traditional podcast to where me and probably Brendan, who's been with me, and potentially maybe a couple other people in our circle. We'll have a traditional podcast, and it won't really have a theme. I'm not looking to really put this in a box. I'm looking to do this in a way that we can reach as many people as possible. We're going to go really narrow with the theme of what we're trying to do, but we're going to go really wide with the type of people and the type of audience and the type of subjects. We may talk about things from sports. We may talk about things from current events. We may talk about other subjects and other things, and books, movies, all of those different things, because they're all relevant in some form or fashion. And we want this to be a place to where, as adults, you guys can come and you guys can ask questions. You guys can feel, because listen, I've got 5 kids. If you guys think that I'm the perfect parent and I don't make any mistakes and I've got the greatest relationship with all 5 of my kids, none of that is true. We all make mistakes. I am a flawed, unbelievably flawed human being. And that is part of this for me, is I'm going to share with you all of my flaws. I have zero to hide from you. So that's going to be part of it. So if there are any questions, I'll happily take any questions. I know I sprung this live kind of quick on you guys, but I'll address any questions. I'll give a couple minutes how and when. So it's up. So if where these videos exist, I will actually go and post the link so that people can join in, people can be a part of that, and people can, um, come and join and be a part of the community and give back, get get some value and give some value. But that's a good question. I'll leave this. I'll leave this going here for a few more minutes with some awkward silence as I sit here and you guys look around my room. My brethren's in New Zealand, they'll know what that is, and if any of you have a question of what that is, I'm happy to share with you or what that is. Brendan knows what that is. That's got a whole nother story. Shoes. I'm a shoe guy. That's Muhammad Ali there. I'm also a Batman guy. You'll also see the goat. Man, my camera's all backwards. You'll see the goat right there as well. So if and I don't know how much of a delay this is. So some of you may be watching this and there may be some of a delay. So even hey, listen, even if you watch this and it's not live anymore, um, then what I will do is I'll actually come back and answer the questions. Also, when you come into the group, or if you're already in the group, the goal is also for me to message you directly and kind of introduce myself and introduce you um, to the group. So, no, I do not have a framed high school jersey. However, this right here is a New Zealand national team jersey, and you'll see the national team there has autographs and all that fun stuff to it. So I do have some Australian stuff, but it's not as cool looking as the New Zealand stuff. So I see a few questions. I see a few questions or people saying hi, but it's not really showing up. Um, so Um, that is that. Also, so by the way, real quick, any anybody that meets the demographic, a parent, an educator, a coach, what have you, anybody who's doing that, um, that you think needs to be a part of our group, message me directly or message in the group if you're already in the group. And or you can if you're already in the group, you can actually invite them yourself, but invite them in. Our goal is to make this community as big as possible. We do have some other things down the line that we're going to be offering, and but everybody who comes into the group for the next 30 days is in the group. Never any kind of charge or anything like that, or none of that. Like you're in the group, you're in, you're a part of our founding members. So um, looks like we've got some different people from all around the world actually chiming in. I see Australia, I see Kenya, I think, and obviously some different places here in the United States. I'm no doubt there's New Zealand and a couple other places as well. So, lastly, thank you guys. Thank you guys for following my journey. Thank you guys for following what I do. Thank you guys for wanting to be a part of this. And most importantly, thank you guys for accepting the challenges. It means a lot to me, and it no doubt means a ton to a lot of these youth today.